I read the Piscine case heavily, nearly 2-3 days to make me familiar with it. And then I try to draft many points I try to draft the summary of the key points, okay, about the facts, about the exhibit. And then I match the key points I summarize with the syllabus. Why they give me a lot of information on the strategic choice. Maybe they ask me this area. 可以理解吗？
可以
And
I
then
see.
now you can use AI to ask, hey, what are the areas they are talking on the Piscine with reference to the syllabus? They don't talk about feng shui, okay? They talk about something related to the syllabus. So I ask this question. So they give you, oh, this area, they are talking about strategic business management. For example, they want to expand. For example, they want to have the position analysis. So they don't give you the answer. They give you the direction. 可以吗? After
可
that,
以
I will go further to ask, if that is the matching of the facts and the syllabus, what will be the likely question they may ask? So these are the questions they may ask, but they don't give you the answer. They give you the idea only. I don't ask again, if this is the question, what will be the answer? Cannot give you the answer because they only give you some general idea because they don't have the additional facts on the exam day. 可以吗?
Okay.
What you can use further is, oh, I don't understand this area. Can you give me some key point of this area? For example, I first imagine, oh, what is influencia? If I'm not familiar, I will ask the AI, hey, can you give me some idea how this is relevant to HKICPA exam? They may give you some idea. 可以吗? Okay,
Okay.
now we have done second step. I must be familiar with the Piscine. I try to use AI to analyze the facts, to analyze the exhibit, to analyze with the syllabus, to analyze whether they give you some idea of expected topic. Now I have some general idea already. I'm familiar with it. I have some pre-setting question, but I must focus on the exam day because I know that most of the marks are on exam day additional facts. Now I have these information, these materials on hand. I go into the examination room. So now the first step is Piscine to be familiar. Second step, do some research like that. Third step, checking the case. Okay, you have 4 hours for the exam. My advice to you is about 30 minutes to read the requirements and the facts because they still have a lot of additional information on exam day. So my suggestion is that maybe you use 30 minutes to read through the requirements first and then check the facts given and then try to plan ahead what relevant information will be used from the Piscine, and most of the facts are used in the additional information given, and then draft your answer within the 3.5 hours. 可以理解吗?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I highlight the key point to you. You need to use appropriate format, especially they ask you, please write a memo, then you write a memo. Okay? These give you some marginal marks to pass. So don't give it away easily. Deliver your answer with appropriate presentation so that you are competent. For example, if you are giving advice to the board, you don't go into detail. You go some strategic angle, some broader angle. Can you see my point?
Yes.
Okay. If you are giving a letter to comfort the staff, then your tone is not operating. Your tone is trying to seek their cooperation. Can you see the point?
Yes.
So this is very important. it counts for few marks each question. 3 questions in the examination, each is about 27 marks, making it 80 marks. Each question, about 10% are professional marks. Your format, your tone, your fluence of writing English. Not necessarily good English, but at least it's an appropriate format, appropriate style. Okay, that is the first point you need to attend. Then I will check the requirement first. Not the facts first. I check the requirement first. Okay, due to the limit of time and also only question 1C are related to my area. So I will demonstrate question 1 to you. Question 2, question 3 are the same methodology, and other lecturers, the specialists will advise you the technical detail. I give you the general idea first. The first one, without taking into consideration of Digit More and Q&M. So there are 2 parties. Digit More is our company. Q&A may be the third party, maybe the client whatsoever. There are 2 parties. We don't consider their preference first. So in the facts above, you think about this. In the piscine, you don't have any idea of Q&M. Okay, therefore, this question is purely on additional information. 听得出来吗? Okay. Okay, there are 2 parties. One is our company Digit More, and the other one is third party Q&M. Maybe the client, maybe third party, I don't know. There are 2 parties. We ignore the preference first. We should, based on what criteria, first compute. Therefore, I advise you to spend quite some time to read the requirement and the facts. Additional information is because each wording of the question may affect you how to write your answer. 这个很重要 ，Miss Yu， 听得懂吗？我的建议就是花多一点时间去理解他问什么。可以理解吗？
可以。
你今天听过以后呢，你发现如果我没看过这个脾气，我也可以答这个问题的，你听得懂吗？对吗 ，Lin？ 对吗
？Yes.
Okay. Now compute. That means some of the marks are on computation. 12 marks. Okay. Analyze. What does it mean? You check the facts in detail. Okay, there must be some difference between different scenarios. Propose with justification. You must make a choice. You propose. Your proposal must be with reason. We call propose with justification. Some candidates propose without justification. They lose marks. Some candidates blah, 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 but they don't make any proposal. They lose marks. You must make the decision with reason. We call propose with justification. The real question is, which entertainer, like the influencer mentioned in the piscine, which entertainer should be engaged for the marketing program of Q&A? That means Q&M is likely a customer. They have a marketing program require our company Digit More to do. And then the question is, then which entertainer should be used? So now Q&A is selling something. They want to use entertainer for the marketing program. So the question is, which entertainer should be used? From financial and non-financial aspect. So one aspect is financial, the other aspect is non-financial. Initially, you remind yourself how to allocate the marks first. What element should be included in these 12 marks? We call it marking scheme. 有没有 idea? Miss Yu， 你觉得12分应该怎么分配啊？
就是 financial 一半 ，non-financial 一半。
那就 logically, financially 6 marks, non-financially another 6 marks, 对吗？Logically, okay. And then
对
compute is quite clearly calculation, financial part. Could be income, could be expenses. Just do the computation. Okay? Non-financial part, what does it mean by non-financial part? Can you give some idea? Link.
Law and regulation, ethics, reputation, brand image,
Exactly.
social responsibility, and some aligns with the strategy or management attitude.
Correct. Okay. So these are the things, but limit your marks, limit your points to the marks allocated. So initially, logically, it should be 6 marks, 6 marks, because 12. Okay. And then 6 marks, if you are talking about non-financial 6 marks, maybe at least you give 3 to 4. Normally, 1 point is about 2 marks. 可以理解吗?
Yes.
OK
Okay. Remind yourself, spend a little bit time to digest the question clearly, and then make some guess about the allocation of marks so that you know what are the number of points to be made. Okay, I don't explain the details of the content which Jackie tomorrow will explain to you about point A, but the logical understanding of the question is like that. Then part B, assume that Digit More consider unwise decision to engage the male actor, entertainer B. So above there must be entertainer B. Now our company, Digit More, say, hey, you don't use entertainer B. So I guess from here, likely Q&M wants to use entertainer B. Okay, but now I need to advise, don't use it. Why? Explain the relevant concerns. So why do you think they should not, entertainer B should not be used? Propose this view to the chief executive officer. Okay, you talk to top level, not a manager, a top level person of the client of the company Q&M. So you should have a tune that you are fair, you have some points with justification, etc. And then 8 marks, concerns and propose. So I think, and also memo. Memo is the format. So if I allocate the 8 marks, maybe 2 marks for the memo, formality. They give you some marks, professional marks. After deducting the 2 marks, there are 6 marks, maybe half for the concerns, half your propose. Yeah, you justify why you think this is not suitable. When you do your answer, focus on why entertainer B is not preferred, and do not need to mention about why you should choose entertainer A or C. 分得出来吗? So spend some time to read the requirement. 可以吗?
OK
Okay. Now, part C, which I want to give you more detail for answering. Q&M would like Digit More to consider contracting a famous entertainer from Singapore or Malaysia. So it means from above, ABC entertainer is likely not from Singapore or Malaysia. I don't know which area, but because I have not yet seen above, I read the requirement. I guess ABC are not Singapore or Malaysia. Now, who is more favored by customer in mainland China? Or mainland China wants Singaporean entertainer and Malaysia entertainer to act as the influencer for the new marketing program. So now Q&A wants us to consider this. Analyze and advise 2 additional legal and regulatory related issues. Out of the 7 marks, I would guess each additional legal and regulatory issue is 3 to 4 marks only. 可以吗? If I can think of 3, I will focus on 2 only. If I can only think of 1, I ask myself, is there any framework give you idea on second legal and regulated related issue? Or will there be any facts given above first, and then facts given in the piscine? We'll give you some hint on that. 这个听得出来吗？ Ling and you Part C 有问题吗？
Mike, you just mentioned that if I thought of 3 ideas, I can list 3 issues and then and emphasize on 2, right?
You are playing safe, but will not add a lot of marks to you.
Oh, okay.
Rather, you limit a little bit. You spend a little bit time on thinking, okay, I already think of 3, but these 2 are the most important. I just focus on these 2.
Oh, okay.
可以吗？我觉得这个比较好。你的方法是很安全，但是也有机会是全军覆没的，听得懂吗？
Yeah.
Okay, then based on the facts, based on the requirement here, what do you understand? What is legal and regulatory related issues? Okay, imagine the situation. Now the company is asked by Q&M to recruit entertainer from Singapore or Malaysia to China. Okay, so what issue from legal and regulatory aspect you can think of? 你觉得有什么可以考虑啊？你看 PC 的时候，你想不到这些问题的，但是
Yes.
现在问题出来了，你就要反过来想，上边有没有给你 additional facts？PC 有没有给你 hints？Or based on your understanding of the syllabus, what does it mean by legal and regulator related issues in this recruiting entertainer from overseas contracting? 你觉得应该有什么 aspect 啊？你请一个人，你可以用自己的方法想啊。你们在中国，你们现在在中国吗 ？With you and Ling.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to recruit me, tax advisor from Hong Kong to work in your city, any legal and regulatory related issues? 有吗？
Maybe tax jurisdiction, your remuneration will be pay tax in mainland or in Singapore, and maybe the payment to overseas banking account of these entertainers may not be very easy, and maybe some employment contracts.
Employment regulation.
Yeah.
Okay, you talk about 3 issues just now. Okay, first, what will be the tax issue? And then, if you focus on tax, you need to make at least 3 or 4 marks. So you need to go into detail. Tax on the company or tax or that means your company or tax on the individual entertainer. Okay. Second one, about the money. How is the payment regulation in terms of money payment that is monetary or remittance issue? 可以吗？
Yeah.
And the third one is about whether I can work inside mainland China. So that is what issue. If you don't exactly know the term, you may just mention that is another employment issue because blah, blah, blah. But that is actually so-called work visa or work permit.
Oh, yes.
All right. Okay. Now you divide 3 area already. Some other area they mentioned in the model answer, like contract. The contract is between you and me now. Will there be any conflict? If there is conflict, what law should follow? Because they ask legal. Okay. Anyway, you think about at least 2. focus on explaining 3 to 4 points within each one because they give you 7 marks. So I give you an example on tax. You may mention about at least I need to understand the tax payable by the entertainer in mainland China. 对吗? If I pay money to the entertainer in China, should I withhold the money as tax payment? All right.
Yes.
For tax issue, will it be affected? Is there any double tax issue between working in China and in Singapore or Malaysia, the origin of the entertainer? Okay. If you want to elaborate further, when you study tax, first of all, it's about income, taxability. Second one, what is it? If you think about tax, this skill can help you to answer other capstone questions on tax. The first thing is income taxability. Second thing, expense deductibility. Third thing, administration. Should I file the tax return directly because of this? 听得懂吗？可以吗 ，Miss Yu？
好像有点没听懂。
我再说一次啊，你请我来中国，你想到有税的问题，对吗？
对。
那如果你写一句there must be some tax issue because of working in China by Mr. Lee, full stop, then you don't get a lot of marks because they give you 3 to 4. Why 3 to 4? There are 7 marks. So divided by 2 should be 3 to 4 points within each category. 可以理解吗？
那要怎么写呢？
哪有什么？
就是这个 taxation 可能他会给的比较多，给的3到4分。就是如果只是简单的写，他可能就不会给分，是这个意思吧？
对呀，对呀。我就是告诉你，如果3分、4分，每一分要写一段。可以理解吗？
那就是说一定要按照那个，就是要结合那个 syllabus，就是结合这个课本的内容来写，才会有点，然后有分。
嗱，我現在就教你一個簡單的方法，因為考 capstone 呢，它是考 overall view，不是 detail，所以 tax angle 裏邊呢，它不會問你那 withholding tax 是多少 percent， 不會問你這個的，可以理解嗎？那如果我要說 overall picture 呢，我介紹你3個方法。Tax is talking about income, and then expense, and then administration. 听得懂嗎？
Yes.
If that is the case, I will say, okay, there should be some tax issue for Mr. Lee working in mainland China. In the facts, I will say there should be some China tax issue for the entertainer from Singapore or Malaysia. You highlight the issues first. And then you think about for tax angle, there must be income side. Income side means taxable or not. So I will say the income received by the entertainer may be subject to income tax in mainland China. Can you see the point? A little bit in depth. Okay. After tax is after the income side, you may mention about the expense side. Expense side. We also need to consider whether there are any deduction allowed for the entertainer for his income taxable in China. So the expense side. The third angle is the administration. If he is really liable to China tax, we also need to ascertain, will there be any withholding tax issue? In effect, that means the payer, digit more, may withhold the tax and pay to the China tax authority. 听得出来吗？
Yes.
So fee angle, income side, taxability, expense size, deductibility, then administration, how to pay the tax. If you find it still a lot of time or points to address, then you may mention not only the income side received by entertainer. You may mention about for the company itself, will there be, if the company is in Hong Kong, then you need to think about, will the company become a permanent establishment in China and subject to China tax? If the company is actually in China, you don't mention this because they are doing business in China subject to China tax already. What you need to do is to consider, will there be any deduction able to be claimed by Digit Mall for paying the overseas entertainer? For capstone, they ask you something that you need to mention the direction or concern, but not necessarily in definite answer because you don't have enough facts as well. 可以吗？ Okay, just now I give you some idea. If you are asked about if you want to explain the tax angle, you may base on income, expense, and then administration. I also mentioned to you, you may use the facts given, and most of the facts are in this additional information on exam day. If these information are enough, then you may stop reviewing the percent because you have enough points already. But if you have a lot of marks, not enough points, you may retrieve the percent information summary you have done before the examination to see whether they can also be added in your answer. So now I focus on the facts given in here first. Okay, the story telling is like the company is marketing some products, a range of the age, etc. And then they are considering a postpaid entertainer generate revenue. So revenue is about income side, the financial aspect. Okay, and then the company can earn commission. So you may calculate for the company itself. Okay, if the revenue is blah blah blah, how much they can earn. Second paragraph. The third paragraph. Digit Mall identify one entertainer and Q&M want another one. However, this paragraph should not be used in part A because it mentioned that you ignore their preference first. 聽得懂嗎？
Yeah.
Miss Yu 可以理解嗎？ And this one, in order to have this understanding, you need to spend time. Therefore, I suggest you before you start writing question 1, you have about half hour to understand the detailed facts. Okay, likelihood, blah blah blah. Give you some idea of whether they can get the money, generate the money. You may have some idea of, do I need to calculate expected value, etc. Or if they don't give you the chance, probability, you need to mention this as well. Okay, then they give you idea of NS1 in the facts. NS1 fee entertainer. One is male, their age, their product, their revenue, their cost, etc. Give you idea of how to calculate the ultimate profit, commission to the company. Then the characteristic of ABC, they mentioned something about the cost, the time, etc., which give you idea of non-financial aspect you mentioned. However, they don't give you tax issue. Then we go to the percent, no idea of tax issue. The company is in Hong Kong. So those general points that I've mentioned about tax, you may add into it. 可以了吗？ Miss Yu, the third step, you mentioned about how to answer the third step. Remember, the first step is to familiar with the case. Second step, do some research, making use of AI for the analysis. Now, drafting the answers. Tax, nothing mentioned about tax, but you have 1 point on tax issue because this is the syllabus area. So you may add into it. So you may divide it into income, expense, administration, the recipient entertainer, or the payer digit more. If digit more is in Hong Kong, you may mention DTA as well. 可以理解吗？
OK，
Okay. Now, in order to ensure my understanding is correct, so we check the answers. Here is the answers. I don't explain in depth. I just explain the part C1. Okay. For part 1, A, B, Jackie will explain to you. So for part C,
I have a question.
yes.
就是那个 B B the memo there is a address in the front of the answer.
The answer writes a letter here.
B 对，这里就是 address， 这个 address 是什么意思？
这里啊，
对，就是这个是什么？
一般来说啊，首先你要注意，第一个它应该是写错了，应该是 memo， 所以如果我真的答的时候，我把这里会说 memo to someone from someone，OK， 它现在好像一个 letter， 如果是一个 letter 呢，就某一个人他是什么公司，然后地址在哪里？地址的意思是，本来你写信的时候不是会把地址写下去嘛？但是你不记得他地址，你就写 address 就算了。明白吗？但是你要注意啊。你说
这里是个 memo， 为什么我就不太理解为什么要写？
对啊，应该他可能 draft answers 的时候写错了，应该写 memo 的。所以我估计你写 memo， 他也会给你 full marks。可以吗？
这 address 不用写就可以了，是吧？
一般来说 memo 就不用写 address 啦。
OK，
好的，然后 part C。Part C. Okay. For example, tax. Discuss and agree with the overseas entertainer on the taxation arrangement. Taxation arrangement is whether I withhold the tax and pay to the government or whether you pay by yourself. Reporting process, that means the filing return. Okay. Including the payment of tax to authority afterwards, so-called withholding tax. Responsible for paying all tax, whether the contract mentioned we need to pay all tax for the overseas entertainer. So there are a lot of answers. You may make 3 or 3 points under one item. 可以吗? In this answer, they mention 4, but you don't need to mention 4 because they ask you 2 only. 可以理解吗? Okay, now 这个有没有问题 ？Tax angle 有没有问题？
老师，我想问一下，就是他这里列了 4，然后就是实际他老师在给分的时候，这个7分，就你举个例子，他会给到哪几句话？
我举
就打个比方是
我
刚才说那个
答的时候，应该是3分给一个 angle， 另外所以是3到4分一个 angle， 不要答4个 angle。听得懂吗？首先要注意。
听得懂。
好的。另外，如果我 text 里边，我就想了，我这一个 text 里边呢，应该 answer 3 to 4 points， 对吗？
对。
好了 ，for example, taxation arrangement. That means who is paying tax? That is what I mentioned. What is the income? What is the expenses? What is the tax liability? We call it taxation arrangement. So 1 point is here. Okay, ma?
Okay.
Then because we present our English, you are not a tax person. You are not doing tax every day. Then we don't write this so difficult English. We write simple sentence and then next sentence. Next sentence is how to report the tax. For example, should I file the return on behalf of the entertainer? 可以理解吗？这个 that is second point. Then who pay the tax? We call withholding tax. That is the third point. 可以理解吗？
可以。
We can also mention in the model answer they mention something about who is paying the tax because you need to check the contract. I may also mention I need to check the double tax issue, whether the Singaporean need to pay the entertainer needs to pay Singapore tax and China tax, and therefore we need to bear the liability, etc. As long as you mention 3 to 4 points under taxation, that is fine. 可以理解吗？
所以就是 double taxation 提到的话，其实也是会给分的。
会，因为这个 model answer 你可以有很多 point 的。可以理解吗？
Okay. 可以。
This aspect, taxation is one aspect. We just now mentioned about work permits. You ask me, Mr. Lee, to go into your city to give advice or doing courses. Then I need to have work permit in order to work in mainland China, right? That is one heading. So you imagine what points you want to make for this heading, work permit. You need to mention 3 or 4 points. 那你会说什么 ？Link， 你会说什么？
Can you ask me again?
Now you invite me to work in your city.
Yeah.
All right. You think about, there is a legal issue called work permit. Okay.
Yeah.
But you want to get 3 or 4 marks under work permit category. So what points you will make?
Work permit. First, maybe your working background. Because for the work permit, we should prepare support materials that to certify that you will come back to your mother country after the working, and I'll prepare the working contract between you and me, and to and then maybe your background, maybe you to see if you have commit crime in before.
Exactly. So you have made 3 or 4 points about work permits issue. If I summarize in brief, application to the local government. Okay. Yeah. Supporting the application with relevant documents, likely the contract, your no crime proof, okay, your confirmation that you will go back to your home country, and your company will promise to cover all the expenses, etc., etc. All right, so you give 3 or 4 points in depth. Okay, by doing that, actually, it's not a accountancy exam. It's actually just a general inquiry. You need to follow the rules. I want to give you 3 or 4 marks. Don't answer one sentence. Give me 3 or 4 points. So if that is the case, under work permit, they give you 3 or 4 points. Apply to the authority. Okay? Give the supporting information. Okay? What you are doing, what your company is doing, etc. Give the contract, no crime record, etc. You give 3 or 4 points. 聽得出來嗎?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. One more point to draw attention. Just now, question 1. Did I refer to the preceding information? No. Why? Most of the information is actually in Annex 1 on the facts given and the appendix. If here are enough points, including financial, non-financial analysis, the memo advising why B is not to be trusted, and the regulatory information, which I have enough points already. I don't refer to the analysis. Actually, the answer does not refer to this. However, if you are familiar with the case, as I suggest you to do so, when you go into the examination room, you immediately understand what they are telling you. 可以吗？
Yes.
听得出来吗 ？Miss Yu， 开怕吗？应该不应该还有很多时间，对吗？
还有，
还有呢，好了，我 suggest 你啊，现在已经做了 Part 1C， 还有最后一步要做。我刚才有3步，Step 1 familiar with the case. Step 2 doing some analysis. For example, checking the details of the case by AI, including the exhibits, and checking what are they related to the syllabus and how they may come up in the exam. Okay, then prep the first step. Think about the points involved and finally write it down because they want you to use your handwriting. Some other exam, they use computer to answer, but now you are using handwriting to write 3 hours at least. Assume you think about 1 hour preparation in the exam, 3 hours continuously writing. You must try to have the feeling how to write this before the exam. 可以吗?
Yes.
Okay, so if because of the time limits, you may use this to think about, okay, if that is the case, 1A, 1B, what is the key point? You don't have to write the complete answer. You may say, okay, these 12 marks should be blah, 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 blah. Check against with the explanation by Jackie tomorrow. Okay, then the mock exam, which will be released within next few days, you try to practice it through the whole process. The same apply to question 2, question 3, using the same methodology. So you will find that if you think about, okay, Ling, you just mentioned to me, I just read through the learning pad. I tell you, don't read the learning pad anymore. Just try to practice the question. And you mentioned that what to do for the next 2 weeks. Just practice the questions. Then you can handle this. 可以吗？
OK，
好，还有什么问题啊？其他时间明天本来是2点半，也是2点半吧。我基本上我的讲题讲完了，但是2点半的时候你进来可以问问题，可以吗？3点钟应该老师开始讲。先 Fanny is talking about module 11, so question 3. And then Jackie will talk about question 1AB and question 2C about HR. Question 2AB about finance, leave it to make recording by Daniel, but the same methodology, using the mind map, using the knowledge, using the actual facts, etc. 可以吗？ 好的，有什么问题吗？
那明天2点半再问了。
可以啊，今天消化一场，明天2点半可以问，先由我来。虽然我可以你去问其他问题，然后3点钟老师就开始由 Fanny 来说。
OK，Miss
Yu 没问题吗？
好的，没有问题。
Ling 还可以吗？
Very clear.
现在容易一点了吗
Yeah.
？OK，
就是其实除了那个 就是老师你讲的那个 pre-seen material， 还有一些那个通过 AI 去，就是我们去 analysis 去分析了之后，还有一个重要的事情，其实就是 mind map 这个资料是要非常 familiar 的，就是不然的话可能打。
我告诉你，现在本来你没有 AI 的时候 mind map 有非常 familiar。现在有 AI 就有 AI 帮你分析就可以了。我的 mind map 就是 syllabus 嘛。
啊，对呀，就是
我的
那
monitor 是
个，
syllabus 啊，那现在问 AI 就可以了。哎，这个跟 syllabus 有什么关系？他会告诉你啊。
但是那个最后像那个第一个大题 第一个 ABC，其实它跟那个预先给的 present 那个 material 关系其实不是很大，
对呀、
就可能对，就可能就是会有偏差嘛，
偏差什么？
就是答题的方向可能会有偏差。
首先我们confirm question C，它的方法就是说，哎，你有没有两个 additional legal and regulatory related issue？我们的想法就是说，我如果有三个，我要把精神放在两个里边；如果只有一个，一定要想清楚有其他两个，好吗？两个以后呢，分数是怎么样？然后呢，分数是3分到4分，应该有3到4个 point，然后是用这个 facts。然后这个 facts 没有呢，就用我的 technical knowledge。我的 technical knowledge 呢，如果是 text，就是 module 14。OK，明天我也会花一点时间告诉你，如果你有我的module 14这个 text，怎么读怎么
有有，
读。但是我告诉你，一般考，因为 overall level 一般考什么，我会告诉你这几点考前你都理解，可以吗？
哦，好的，
明不明白？
明白了，还是重要还是在 present materials，然后还有分析，还有 AI 去
AI
帮
就是帮你
助我们
分析啊，
分析，
所以 PC
对，帮助
material
我们分
方面根据
析这个
分析，
material。
然后呢，然后就看题，看题的技巧要很小心看题的分数怎么安排，1分1个 point 开始2分1个 point，然后呢就找一些 facts 去 support 你的 answer，大部分的 facts 在additional information，小部分的 facts 明天有可能你看其他题哦，有些 facts 在 PC 已经讲过了，所以就拿来用，就是这样，可以吗？
嗯，OK，
好了，我们跟你一起练exercise 的有3个，一个就是今天的 December 24，OK，今天这2天一直会去处理这个事情，然后下个星期你做 mock exam，你先做啊，做完才来听啊，可以吗？有第二次机会，第三次 view exam，view exam 我不能看你的题，但是你可以问，明白我意思吗
嗯，
嗯
？OK，
那那个老师，我想问一下，就是past paper 和 pilot paper 现在还有必要去学习吗？
我们现实一点，你有时间吗？
嗯，
应该没有。对啊，C5 你基本上应该 December 24一吐，对吗？然后模拟考试我给你一吐，然后你真的哪一份你要有 practice 的 PC，然后你的 past paper 怎么选呢？我教你怎么选。这个是 past paper analysis，从 pilot paper 开始一直有，对吗？
嗯
你选一些你觉得这个题你有困难的，你去做。比方说，Lin，你刚才不是说这个 Module 11 Hedge Accounting 的问题吗？
，Yeah，
你看这个 past paper analysis 有不同的 topic 的，你觉得这个 topic 有点难，你快点拿出来看看，听得懂我意
哦
思？
，Yeah，
哦
这个方法不是更有效果吗？
嗯，就是
可以吗？
查漏补缺。
比方说这个 pilot paper 有 SAF，这里有 SAF。当你选一个东西的 suitability and feasibility，你已经读过很多次了，你这题不用再做了，可以理解吗
嗯
？OK，不
，Yeah，OK，OK，
要再去听这些，尤其是这些knowledge 的部分。你看当时刚才的 PC 不是有很多 knowledge 吗？对
啊
吗？但是考的时候
啊
什么也不用哦，对吗？你明白我意思吗？赌
，Yeah，Yeah，
不如你现在马上做题，去理解你的方法是怎么样，
OK，
那
那我们做
就应该
题是不是还是要按就是刚才说的步骤，就是material familiar 了，然后 analysis，然后
你当然
就是
这样最好了。你把你的 muscle、你的 methodology 的方法steps 灌注怎么做了？你明白我意思
嗯
吗？我比方说我去做 tax，每天在写信给税务局，写我的客人，我已经知道怎么做怎么做，所有 step 我知道了，所以很快很快，
嗯，
明白我意思吗？
明白。
所以起码有3份，你应该有好好的把握。还有1份就是mock exam online 已经放好了，这些不是 past paper，是我们 create 出来的。你可以用刚才的方法去做一次。你不要去做很多。如果有这个 December 的，然后上个星期的 mock，还有网上的 mock，加上你的next 2 weeks 的 view PC，已经很够了。最关键是你懂不懂这个方法？OK。